What if the one character everyone forgot is the key to ending everything? When the world of Stranger Things is about to collapse, the story quietly pulls back a shadow from the past, Kali. Number 08, a girl who vanished without goodbye, and now, when 11 is at her weakest, Kali's return may not be an accident. It may be a warning. Kali did not disappear because her story was over. She disappeared because the story was waiting for the right moment to bring her back. In Stranger Things, nothing is random, and no character leaves without a reason. Kali was introduced as someone who shared 11's pain, her fear, and her anger. They were both children who survived the same nightmare, but where 11 chose love, Kali chose rage. That difference is important now more than ever. Season 5 is not about growing powers. It is about surviving loss. Hawkins is broken. The Upside Down is no longer hiding. Vecna is stronger, smarter, and more personal than any enemy before. 11 is tired. She has lost friends, safety, and the simple belief that she can fix everything alone. This is where Kali fits back into the story, not as a side character, but as a mirror. Kali represents the path 11 almost took. A life built on anger instead of hope. When Kali returns in Season 5, Volume 2, it is not just a reunion. It is a reminder 11 must face who she could have become. The show has always used emotional conflict as its real weapon, and Kali's presence opens wounds that never healed. There are small signs the show never forgot her. The way illusion and memory control became central to Vecna's power. The way fear shapes reality in the Upside Down. Kali's abilities were never weak. They were unfinished. She can change what people see. Vecna changes what people feel. Together, they touch the same space. The mind. Her return also connects to unfinished guilt. 11 left Kali behind. She chose Hawkins. She chose friends. Kali was left alone with her anger. Season 5 forces that choice to come back. When the world is ending, unfinished bonds matter. Old mistakes matter. Kali returns not to seek revenge, but because she understands something 11 does not yet see. You cannot defeat a monster born from pain without facing pain itself. Kali survived by living inside darkness. That makes her dangerous, but it also makes her necessary. As Season 5 moves toward its end, Kali's return signals one thing clearly. The final battle will not be won by strength alone. It will be won inside the mind, where fear begins, memories break, and the past finally demands answers. Kali's return in Stranger Things Season 5 Volume 2 is not about nostalgia. It is about timing. The story brings her back only when everything is falling apart, because Kali does not belong in a peaceful world. She belongs in chaos. From the very beginning, Kali survived by adapting to darkness. While 11 learned how to live among people, Kali learned how to live without them. That difference explains why she stayed hidden for so long after Season 2. Kali understood something dangerous. The experiments were not finished. The pain they created was still alive, growing quietly. She saw how anger can twist the mind, how loss can turn people into monsters. When Vecna finally revealed himself, his methods felt familiar. He does not just kill bodies, he breaks souls. Kali has seen that before. She lived it. This is why Kali did not come back earlier. Hawkins was not ready. 11 was not ready. Even Vecna was not ready. Season 5 changes everything. The Upside Down is no longer a secret world. It is bleeding into reality. Fear is everywhere. Memories are being used as weapons. This is Kali's battlefield. 11, for the first time, is losing control. Her power is strong, but her spirit is tired. She has always believed that saving others meant carrying everything alone. Kali never believed that. Kali learned to survive by disconnecting, by stepping into shadows where emotions cannot touch her easily. That survival skill now becomes valuable, not good, not kind, but effective. There's also a deeper reason for Kali's return: guilt. She knows she left 11 at a turning point. She pushed her toward anger, then vanished when 11 chose another path. Kali has lived with that choice. Season 5 gives her a chance to face it, not to apologize with words, but with action. Vecna is not just an enemy. He is proof of what happens when pain is never healed. Kali understands him in a way others cannot. She does not excuse him. She recognizes him, his. Hatred feels familiar. His control over fear mirrors how she once used illusions to protect herself. This makes Kali dangerous to Vecna. She sees through him. Her timing also connects to unfinished secrets. Dr. Brenner is gone, but his damage remains. Kali carries pieces of that damage no one else does. She remembers the early experiments, the cruelty before rules existed. She may know truths about the Upside Down that were never written down, truths that can change how the final battle is fought. Kali returns not as a hero, but as a necessary risk. She brings knowledge earned through suffering. In Season 5, Volume 2, the story stops asking who is good or bad. It asks who is willing to face the darkness without being swallowed by it. Kali steps forward because she already has. And this time, she is not running. She is choosing to stand where the world is most broken because that is where she understands it best. The final war in Stranger Things will not be won by explosions, weapons, or raw power. It will be fought where Vecna is strongest and weakest. At the same time, the mind, this is where Kali becomes more dangerous than anyone else. While 11 breaks walls and opens gates, Kali breaks perception. She changes what people see, hear, and believe. Vecna feeds on memory and fear. Kali controls illusion. These powers are not opposite. They are connected. Vecna does not attack randomly. He studies pain. He waits for cracks in the soul, then slips inside. Every victim he chooses carries guilt, sadness, or shame. Kali has lived with those feelings her entire life. She learned to survive by shaping fear into something she could control. This makes her immune to Vecna in a way others are not. You cannot twist a mind that already understands its own darkness. This creates a terrifying idea. Vecna may not be able to control Kali. He may not even be able to read her the way he reads others. His power depends on reliving trauma. Kali does not run from trauma. She uses it. That alone makes her a threat he cannot predict. There is also a deeper layer to this fight. Vecna believes pain gives him purpose. Kali once believed the same thing. She built her identity around revenge. But unlike Vecna, she stopped before losing her humanity completely. That difference matters. Kali represents what Vecna could have been if someone had reached him in time. And Vecna will. Sense that he will hate her for it. One powerful theory suggests Kali can turn Vecna's own strength against him. If she can create illusions inside his mental space, she can force him to relive memories he has buried. Not the ones where he feels powerful, but the ones where he felt small, forgotten, and afraid. Vecna hides behind rage, but rage is often fear in disguise. Imagine Vecna trapped inside a false reality of his own making, a world where his control fails, where his past refuses to stay quiet. Kali does not need to overpower him. She only needs to distract him long enough for 11 to strike. Together, they become something unstoppable, not because they are stronger, but because they understand him. This also changes 11's role. She has always been the weapon. Kali forces her to become something else, a choice maker, a protector, not just a fighter. 11 must trust someone who once walked a darker path. That trust is risky, but necessary. Season 5 is about learning that power without balance leads to destruction. Vecna's biggest weakness is that he believes he is alone in his suffering. Kali proves him wrong. She survived the same system, the same pain, but she chose a different ending. That truth alone could break him more deeply than any attack. As Season 5 Volume 2 moves toward its end, the fight between Kali and Vecna becomes symbolic. It is not just about winning. It is about showing that fear does not have to rule the future. And if Vecna finally falls, it will not be because he was defeated by force, but because someone who understood his darkness refused to let it define the end of history. Kali has never been written as a hero. From the moment she appeared, she lived in shadows, moved through anger, and trusted pain more than people. She did not save others because it was right. She saved them because they were like her, broken, forgotten, angry. That made her powerful, but it also made her alone. Season 5 Volume 2 gives Kali something she never had before, a real choice. Redemption in Stranger Things has never meant becoming perfect. It means choosing connection over isolation. Kali's past was built on revenge. Every illusion she created was a shield, hiding her from a world that hurt her first. But shields also block healing. By returning now, Kali steps into the one place she swore she would never face again, the center of the pain. 11. Their reunion is not soft or easy. It is filled with unspoken regret. 11 left. Kali stayed angry. Both survived. But neither escaped without scars. This tension gives Kali's return emotional weight. She is not there to ask forgiveness. She is there to act differently than she did before. One of the strongest theories suggests Kali will make a sacrifice no one else can. Vecna's power depends on focus and control. If Kali fully unleashes her illusions, she could lock herself inside his mental world, keeping him trapped while the gate closes. But doing so may mean she never comes back. Not because she fails, but because she chooses to stay behind. This would complete her arc. Kali spent her life running from pain. Choosing to face it fully and finally becomes her redemption. Not through words, through action. She becomes the one who walks into the darkness so others do not have to. Her sacrifice would also free 11 from the belief that she must die to end everything. Kali shows her another way. That saving the world does not always mean losing yourself. Sometimes it means trusting someone else to carry part of the weight. There is also symbolism in Kali's powers. Illusions are temporary. They fade. They are not real. Vecna's world is built on false ideas of strength and control. Kali using illusions to destroy the world feels poetic. She defeats lies with lies, breaking the system from the inside. If Kali does not survive, her death would not be meaningless. It would close the experiment storyline completely. No more numbers. No more children shaped into weapons. Her ending would say that even those created in darkness can choose how their story ends. Season 5 Volume 2 is about endings that hurt but feel true. Kali's redemption is not about becoming good. It is about becoming free. Free from anger. Free from running. Free from the past that shaped her. And when the upside down finally closes, Kali's presence will linger. Not as a ghost, but as proof that even the most forgotten characters can change everything. Sometimes the final victory does not belong to the strongest hero. It belongs to the one brave enough to face the darkness and refuse to look away. What if Kali's return is not just part of the ending, but the signal that the story of Stranger Things is about to close forever? What if her presence means the final choice has already been made, and the world will never be the same again? Kali's return in Stranger Things Season 5 Volume 2 changes the meaning of the ending itself. This is no longer just a fight against Vecna. It becomes the conclusion of a story that began the moment the first child was taken into the lab. Kali represents the beginning of that pain, and her return suggests the story can only end by facing it directly. Throughout the series, the numbers were never just experiments. They were broken lives. 11 was the only one given a chance to grow beyond the lab. Kali shows what happened to those who never escaped its shadow by bringing her back at the very end. The show connects the past and present into one final moment. Nothing is left unfinished. One powerful theory is that Kali's role is to help close the upside down permanently, not through force, but through understanding. The upside down feeds on fear, memory, and unresolved trauma. Kali understands all three. She knows how the mind holds onto pain and how reality bends when fear is strong enough. This knowledge may allow her to weaken the upside down from the inside, making it possible to seal it forever. Her presence also changes 11's ending. For the first time, 11 is not the only survivor of the lab standing at the end. She is no longer alone in carrying that history. Kali's return allows Eleven to release the idea that her life must be defined by sacrifice. Instead, she learns that survival itself is a victory. The final episodes are expected to focus on choice. Who chooses power? Who chooses control? And who chooses to let go? Kali's entire journey leads to this moment. She spent years choosing anger because it made her feel strong. In Season 5, she chooses something harder: acceptance. Letting the past exist without letting it rule the future. There is also a haunting possibility. Kali may not leave Hawkins alive, but her death would not be tragic in the usual way. It would be meaningful. She would die knowing she was more than a weapon, more than a number, more than a forgotten girl in the shadows. Her story would end with purpose, not pain. If Kali survives, her survival sends an equally powerful message that healing is possible, that even those shaped by darkness can step into a new world. Either ending completes the theme of the show. Trauma does not disappear. It is faced, understood, and finally released. Kali's return tells the audience something important. The ending of Stranger Things will not be clean or simple. It will be emotional, it will hurt, and it will honor the characters who carried the heaviest burdens from the very beginning. When the final scene fades and the Upside Down is no longer a threat, Kali's impact will remain. Not because she was the strongest, but because she reminded the story what it was always about: lost children, broken choices, and the courage to decide how the story ends, even when the past refuses to stay quiet. As Stranger Things reaches its final chapters, the story stops chasing shock and starts chasing truth. Season 5 Volume 2 is not built to surprise for the sake of surprise. It is built to land emotionally. Kali's return fits into this design perfectly. She is not here to steal the spotlight. She is here to change the meaning of the ending. The biggest twist may be this: the final victory does not belong to power. It belongs to choice. Every major character is forced to decide who they are without the fight. For Kali, this is the hardest choice of all. Her entire identity was shaped by survival, by staying angry, by never slowing down long enough to feel. The end of the world forces her to stop running. One theory suggests that after Vecna is weakened, Kali is given the chance to escape with the others. For the first time, she is not alone. She could leave Hawkins, leave the past, but instead of disappearing again, she stays long enough to help seal the last crack between worlds. Not because she has to, because she chooses to finish what started. In the lab, this moment reframes her entire character. Kali is no longer the girl who vanished after teaching Eleven how to channel anger. She becomes the one who proves that anger is not the final lesson. Control is. Letting go is. The Upside Down feeds on unfinished pain. Kali choosing closure weakens it in a way no attack ever could. The final twist also affects how we see Eleven's ending. For seasons, viewers expected Eleven to sacrifice herself. Kali's presence breaks that pattern. It shows that the story does not need another lost child to close its book. It needs survivors, witnesses, people who carry the truth forward. Kali may be the one who convinces Eleven to live, not through speeches, but through example. By choosing to stay present instead of fading into shadows, by choosing to face the quiet world after the chaos ends. This is something Kali never allowed herself before. There is also the possibility that Kali leaves Hawkins at the very end, but this time with intention. Not running, not hiding, walking away after making peace with the place that broke her. This version of the ending is subtle, but powerful. It says that healing does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like finally breathing. The final twist of Stranger Things may not be a shocking death or a sudden reveal. It may be the simple truth that pain does not get the last word. Kali's return reminds us that the story began with children trapped in a system that tried to define them forever. It ends with those children choosing their own meaning. When the lights go out and Hawkins becomes just a town again, Kali's role will feel clearer. She was not forgotten. She was waiting. waiting for the moment when the story needed someone who understood darkness deeply enough to step away from it. And that may be the most unexpected ending of all. Not destruction, not loss, but the quiet victory of choice, finally made on their own terms.